Oh yeah. How's everybody doing today? It's Big Chonis here. It's been a little bit of time since we've spoken together, but I am back. So let's get the party started. It's Big Chonis here. You guys can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Big Chonis. I'm a cryptocurrency trader, an investor, a mentor, a chart psychologist. I'm also a featured contributor to Bitcoin Live. And I love doing these podcasts on YouTube for you guys when we talk about Bitcoin's very interesting price action. So let's get it going here. Hello to my friends in the chat room. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Beautiful day here in the East Coast. Very good day for a parade, a victory parade, a Patriots victory parade. What a great one that was. And yeah, what's going on? Canyon Man, Darius, Hugo, Dominus, Namaste. What's going on? Anthony Hardy, Aylin, Sarah, hello. Yes, the tunes. Darius, Doxy, Mike, what's going on, guys? Thanks for joining me today on the Big Chonis Show. Let's talk some Bitcoin. Interesting yet boring price action, but I feel that the boredom will not last long because we have consolidated in this tight area of price action for quite a while here, as we've been rising up in this so far bear flag until proven otherwise. I mean, we have this channel rising here. We're once again testing our lower channel support. Every time we wick out below it, we get buyers. Every time we wick out above it, we get sellers. And our middle line of basically been acting as supports and resistances. I'm on the 4-hour chart here. And listen, let's kind of just zoom out just a little bit here and take a look at the past couple of weeks here in the price action of Bitcoin, because from our for now bottoming in the 3150 area back in mid-December, it was only like 9-10 days basically to the 24th where we had our top off. Okay, so we bottom on the 15th, we top off on a day before Christmas, and then for the past month and 2 weeks now, almost 6 weeks, we have this lower highs and lower lows pattern that's been consistent all the way through. Every time we do have a bullish spike higher, these have been sold into, and we keep going lower, lower, drifting lower and lower. Now we are finding support still on some of our higher time frame key areas, our MA200 on the weekly, our MA50 on the monthly. And because we're holding those areas yet not accelerating off of them, it's very hard to say where this next potential bullish impulse may derive from. We had it because we were so oversold on so many indicators, including our weekly and monthly indicators at that time, and we were due for that bounce, and we had so much pent up energy in our price action there that boom, shot out like a cannon here. But it was only lasted about a week and a half, and as I said, the past 6 weeks have been this drift. Now, what is this drift? So our near term flag, okay, is constant, but I still have to go back to my overall thought process of this entire move as another descending triangle where we find a consistent upper resistance line. We basically find a consistent lower support line. And by our consistent lower support line, kind of what I mean by that is the double test bottom of 3150 could be the only thing that can get us to that next bounce opportunity. This smaller descending triangle, until proven otherwise, is just a simple mirror image of our previous much larger descending triangle that we had been through in Bitcoin basically all the way of basically all of 2018 here. Okay, now there were certain principles that were pretty consistent with our descending triangle here. We had lower highs throughout. Okay. We also had a similar, but not necessarily a true consistent bottom. What does that mean? Well, we talk about the 6K area as being that area of support. And now we basically have circumstances where we break it. We put in a lower low, finding a bounce, higher low, finding a bounce until a trend of a sideways price action here just got too much. And finally, the bulls capitulated. Note our sideways price action. Note a couple attempts. We were able to break out, wicked up. Okay. And then the slow drift higher, hitting that resistance line. We zoom back out here to where we are currently. And again, this upper line here, it's kind of subjective. It doesn't fit entirely clean into a resistance up to the 45s, but the overall thought about these lower highs keeps this descending triangle pattern in play. Now, another test of this line is also kind of subjective. I can actually take this down to kind of like right here. Get rid of my channel for just a second here. Okay, so we see we have our resistance with our wick breakout here, our FOMO wick. Okay, didn't quite get up to it, got up to it just closer there, got up to it again and again and again. So we keep resetting this resistance line on a lower plane, trying to hit it. And every time we basically try and break out, we get that resistance. So couple scenarios we'll be watching for over the next few whatevers, because it almost feels like we're in one of those markets here where big volatile moves are kind of imminent, just because our low volume sideways price action can allow the manipulation of this market to take hold. Okay, and that can actually accelerate bigger volatile moves. And actually a couple charts I want to look at in just a moment that are showing how unvolatile, how basically very sedated our current market is, and how we're due for a volatile spike very soon because of those historic trends. Okay, our lower support line here rising, holding. And listen, our upper resistance line here, it's kind of irrelevant because we still put in these lower highs. Okay, for right now, our major, which is like another 50, $60, is meaningless only with a break above the 35.50 area, basically right here, okay, can really constitute potential of a trend change where we keep seeing these lows continue here. Why 35.50? We had so much ranging period in it. I bet you the VPVR is loaded with, come on, there we go, is loaded with a lot of history basically in this area here. Let's zoom out to right there. There we go. So we see that where we are, there's a quick jump basically up to, 35.30, 35.50 area, because we have a pretty big window here of very limited price action from 34.50 all the way up to about 34.90. So a quick pop can bring us to this area here, which is still just a back test of our previous area of support, now turn resistance. So basically there's just noise between here and 35.50. We get to 35.50, we break it, we get above it, we close above it, okay? And now we're talking about, okay, we're in that trend change. We're in that so-called C wave that people are watching for, some sort of a support bounce, and then boom, some sort of boom that's supposed to take us back over 4K or back up to 4K. Okay, we have a lot of resistance all above 35.50 all the way up to about $3,800 there. Above that, we can drift pretty quickly here to 4K. There's so much going on here in terms of resistance. What am I talking about? Well, let's bring up some resistance levels here. I want to start with my EMAs, my near-term ones, my 12 and my 26. Get rid of my VPVR for just a moment here. I'm still on my 4-hour chart, and because On lower time frames, like our hourly, we have been in a bull cross for, since about the past 5 or 6 hours there. We had bear crossed here, we had bull crossed here. So, okay, we have a slight bull cross in our 1 hour. I move to my 4 hour. 4 hour, not yet. Okay, still have some running room here, okay, to get our bull cross. And all we're talking about is a trend confirmation. Now, why am I interested in this bull cross here? Well, we see when we broke bearish, always the first time you try and do that breakout, always fails. And you see how that strong rejection was here. I'm going to do a little trick here. Hide. Right here, you see how strong that EMA 1226 rejection was. So it wasn't ready to cross there. It wasn't ready to cross. But are we setting up for our next opportunity to actually cross this B on the 4 hour lower time frame? I know my 6 and my 12 aren't even close yet, right? We're still very spread apart. We're still finding EMA resistance, okay? Can't even get above the EMA 12 on the 12 hour, okay? Just added on the 6, trying to hold that up, but we just started a brand new candle on that. And only going to be started on our daily candle, which continues to resist our EMA 12 very fiercely, but is kind of low from it, So near-term resistance, okay, we have running room to get back up to, the 3460s, 30, anything sub 35. 3,500 is a major area. If we can get in there, then we're talking about, oh, maybe we are finding that bull volume to get us through. But look at our daily chart profile. Look at our volume. Okay, ever since our bounce here, look at this follow-up volume here. Okay. It's just, it's just stair stepping down. We're losing momentum. We're losing buyers. Okay, we're losing buyers. Doesn't mean we can still continue and find this support in this area here. Okay, but our money flow is not really coming into this market just yet. You got to ask yourself, what's that catalyst? How many days of an uptrend, or how many days of breaking through some sort of a catalyst? Can we say, okay, this is going to entice bull buyers coming in? Because on all of our higher time frames, everything is still screaming, we're bearish, we're bearish, we're bearish. Okay. And the note that we were rejected initially on our 4 hour without breaking through, I'll be interested to see if we can do it once again on this one here. Or can we at least continue our 1 hour bull cross and build off of that? Okay, our volume profile low. There's actually been a little bit of an uptick on today's price action. Not sure if this is just bots trying to keep this thing afloat above the 34 region, because every time we get to this 33s area here, right, we broke a couple times, 33.41, 74, 86. Okay, we're just flirting with another step down, another step down. Now, what am I talking about here? Let's go to my 6 hour chart here. Okay, so we're not very far away at this point here. I'll just do a closing low candle, 31.50. Beautiful. Okay, look at it. We're not far away from a double bottom at this point. We're just not. Okay, we're 7% away from a double tap of our lower 2018 lows. Is this supposed to feel like, oh, we've come back, we've reset, and now we're ready to move higher, even though we're flirting with just another tap? So my whole logic in what I'm watching for in Bitcoin right now, we talk about volume, obviously, indicators, but what's the thing that's going to suggest this is a good value area for Bitcoin's price action, okay, to be like, oh, I can take a long here and I'm going to be comfortable holding this long, okay, because I'm confident of this higher low situation here, okay? Along with our bottom here, we also have this line of support, okay, with a couple wicks that break through it there, Okay, if I go down to the bottom wick here, as you see, we still have running room down to 33.70, but these wicks have basically been buying opportunities when this little line breaks until proven otherwise. We're not far from a double bottom. Only 7% separates us from our 2018 lows, and the strength of the resistance overhead is truly notable. Let me bring up my triple sequence here: AMA 50, MA 100, MA 200. Okay, so looking at our 6 hour here, looking at our MA 50, and we see the resistance on our near-term price action here and here. So that's stage one, 34.50. Our 12 hour, anything of interest here other than this bear cross we're basically living through? Not too much. Our daily, okay, see how our daily, our MA50 here and here to the penny was such strong resistance. Okay, can we get a triple tap of that? Try to see how strong it is. That's still on the 3600 area and falling. Also note our MA100 on our daily is rapidly descending, as well as our MA200. Now our blue line 100, we can see how strong of a resistance line it was when the price action reacted to it back before our 6K break. Here on this wick out, this was our tether pump wick out, a couple of these pumps here, and then this last little push higher here. Okay, so how strong our MA100 blue line is on our daily chart, currently at 4,200 and descending rapidly, as well as our MA200 still in the fives. And you see how our price action hasn't even come close to even touching it. Okay, so we have our resistance targets on the higher time frames, but let's look at our even highest here. Let's go to our weekly and see. Look how close our price action is once again to our MA200 red line of support. And let's say it is a line of support. Okay, it was tested, held, maybe broke intra-week there. Okay, but we closed above it. This was a good sign here. Boom. And now once again, now this was back when it was at 3,200. Now we went up almost 130, $140. But we've also gone, 7 weeks since our bounce there, and we're right back to it. So we were all watching how strong of a support area the MA200 would be 7 weeks ago, and now we're back to it. And the initial tap was great. Initial taps on major support areas, okay, tend to find buying and bouncing there. But what about second taps? I hate the notion of the double bottom with just a quick tap. Okay, maybe something around it is possible for sure. Maybe we kind of skirt our MA200 on our weekly, which is right at around 33.22 here. God help us if we break it. God help us if we break it and close below it, especially on our weekly time frame, which was our higher thing here. We also have this bear cross here, okay? Coming in not next week, but looks like the mid-February. MA50. Okay, MA50. Let's there we go. MA50 and our MA 100, okay, are crossing here in a couple of weeks. Now, this cross is probably inevitable unless we get some incredible rally with Bitcoin and it shoots up and it deflects this. But this is notable for a cross. We see from a bullish standpoint, and let me go to something a little longer here. Why do I still have Bitfinex on there? Stamp. And let's take a look here at any kind of interesting price history with our 100 and our 50. And we go back to 2014 here. And we see, yikes, got a lot of stuff here. Here was our bear cross as we led up to it. Okay, we definitely had some bearish price action as we got closer to it. The week we had it, we actually had a little spike in the price, and then we drifted back lower, finding our support here after breaking the MA 200, but rallying up to find a resistance, and very strong resistance, on our MA50. So the weekly touch of the MA50 on the price action is achievable, but it also denotes a very strong resistance line. We fast forward and we still see how high that price action is, all the way up about $6,500 still. So historically speaking, we have a very long way to go if you want to use 24 fractal, 2014 fractal, 15 fractal, actually then it's 2015 fractal, to be in play, which basically had a price action pullishly touch our MA50, and we see how separate we still are from this domain. That's why it's harder and harder to find the 2014 fractal really comparable to what we're seeing right now. It's just a different chart, okay? It was a different parabolic move, okay? And the fact that we were so far above these longer term MAs on higher time frames kind of puts the relationship to happen before kind of out of whack, just because of how much more running room we have for these things to kind of continue to spread out. And lastly, I'll just refer to the monthly here. And look at that. Look how close we are now to our MA50 on our monthly candle, okay? Has been touched right here as, look at that, interesting support at $227, okay? Now it's at 3150 and rising, and you see over the next couple months this will be rising ever so slightly, okay? I expect this line to be touched at a point, and this is a great way to bring up my, can I hide this for a second here, my Bollingers, and we can start talking about where we are in our Bollinger price action in relation to our candles here. Let's go back to Coinbase for just a moment. Yes. Go. Okay, so monthly. Okay, we're still in the month of February. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this monthly. Granted, we're at day 5 of our monthly candle, but you have to ask yourself a question. Our wick here is like $20, low 69, open for 11, 30, $40. So our wick is we have a $40 wick. Now, the previous month we actually had open and low 37 and 33. Close, no, open and close for 11 and for, so $60, $70 wick. But we had a much higher wick intra-month before we gave so much of that price action back. My point is, it's hard for me to feel that the low of the month is in, because if the low of the month is in and this candle closes bullish, either bullishly engulfing or just some sort of a green tight bodied inside bar candle, that would sustain that notion that we have found the low of the month. But I just can't see how that's the case. For us to have a bottoming this month, which I don't think will happen, but for us to have a situation like that, we're going to need a lower wick. We're going to need a notable lower wick to basically show the market that, hey, this market had been very bearish in the month and then had been bought up. Okay, basically buyers found the bearishness, bought into the bearishness, and we're able to find that price action rise, and noting the lower wick that it was able to create. I don't have anything like that yet. That's why I'm a little afraid that we still have more down to go this month before finding some sort of a buying bounce, whether it's a break of 3K, whether it's a break of the MA200, whether it's a touch of the MA50, that we need to have some sort of a longer, lower wick if we're kind of get any sense that this area of price action is a nice little bottoming area here. Note our lower BB 30, 1100, finally over 1,000 and continuing to rise. Okay, we also have our upper BB that over the next 2 months will begin to really fall quickly now. One of these are going to touch the upper BB rising into the price rising down into the lower BB there. And listen, just looking at the chart here, and I'm going to hide my Bollingers for just a moment, bring it back in just a moment. We're here, okay, we're here. And look at all these green candle, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, there's still 4 more months, April of 17 to July of 17, that were green candles, okay, that were never reset on the monthly pullback. We had a monthly pullback here in July that closed with a gorgeous freaking hammer candle, okay? But because these areas here rose so quickly and so bullishly back then, okay, there's no historic support here, meaningful support, if a break of 3K actually happens. Okay, a break of 3K doesn't just put us nice bouncing in the mid 25s. It basically says, hey man, we're going to retest these areas that were never really retested and that we spent limited bullish amount of time on there. As we rose up so quickly here in our price action, always also corresponds with our VPVR, which shows us where all the money came in. All the money came into Bitcoin. You know, sub 1,000, at 1,000, a little bit above 1,000. Okay, that's where most of the loading history in Bitcoin was basically created. We are in this area here of the 3 to 3,500 zone, which is now our area of most notable support. Okay, and we see these two windows here actually being created now. We have our bigger window here from 4K up to almost 6K. It's because we have an area where we shot up so quickly and we have an area where we shot down so quickly. So any bullish move in Bitcoin at some point, whenever that is in the future, hopefully not too distant, is going to bring us through this area, through 42 all the way up to 6K very fast, okay? Very fast, because of the lack of history in this area. Now, thusly, we have these other lower windows. We have a lower window here down to about 2,500 area, corresponding with our next cluster of price action support we had here in this May, June, July, where we hit resistance right at 3K, resistance right at 3K. We blasted through it, and we had a nice reset this September month at 3K before we were able to get most of that back. So how strong 3K of is as a support and how important it must be to hold it, and by breaking through it, yikes, because now if we're not getting the buying sentiment that, okay, 3K is as firm as we wanted it to be, then much lower we can go. I pull back my Bollingers. So our daily Bollingers, okay, getting tight, not super duper duper tight, but tight. Okay. Now, when I find slower Bollinger support, okay, I always like to target my middle Bollinger here. And my middle Bollinger just happens to be kind of in that area of our resistance zone, our support zone now turned resistance. Okay. Basically anything to about 35.30. Okay, goes us into our middle BB zone. Look how strong of a resistance our middle Bollinger is here. And here, the last two times the price action was trying to break through it and was unable to. Okay, so even if we get any kind of a bullish pop, this 3,500 to 3,550 area, again, it's our kryptonite zone until proven otherwise. Volume can prove otherwise. Otherwise, okay, we're going lower here. And listen, if this kind of flaggy rise here breaks through, that puts us right at our double bottom, 31 zone here. Can it hold if we get down here? Is it going to be the thing that's going to bring in buyers into that market? It's a similar descending triangle that should act as support hold with a bounce that puts us to a lower high area. Okay, a lower high consistent with just, this declining volume here of price action. Okay, we're not finding the continuation. And we're getting in this tightening apex area, like right there, huh? Now, I want to bring up this chart. It is, where is it here? Nope, not that one. No, not that one. Where the heck is that volatility chart? There it is. BVol. Okay. This is BitMEX historical volatility. Okay. Now, this doesn't necessarily say bullish or bearish. Okay. We have volatility spikes that are both bullish and bearish. Okay. This cluster here from mid November to mid December, obviously a bearish volatility spikes here. Okay. And then right here was a bullish volatility spike right here. Let's map that out. Okay, so this is a bullish volatility spike. And this whole cluster here was a bearish volatility spike. And you see once again where we are right here. And that was right around the area. Well, I should say it wasn't right around. We still have potentially a ways to go to get lower and lower here with more sideways price action in our volatility for another double test of this zone where volatility definitely tends to come into play. Let's do this one. Okay, so very close, okay, but still running room of sideways price action until the area where we tend to get some wicked volatility. Okay, this was a lower volatile zone than BitMEX had ever been since 2017. Okay, we were in the 70s here. We were in the 36 area, and now we're at like 80, we're at 98. Okay, so still running room, meaning sideways price action that can continue, but we also see we're getting very close to the area where we get volatility. Volatility equals volume. Volume spike doesn't necessarily mean it's bearish or bullish, just means that there's something crazy going on. Let's look at a couple things here. This is market cap. This is total market cap. Doing some calculations here. There we go. Now, this chart looks very similar, obviously, to the Bitcoin chart here. 109 billion. Right there. Does that make sense? 109 billion? 113. Yeah, it's about there. 109, 113. It's probably missing a couple coins that CoinMarketCap isn't including. But very similar chart here to Bitcoin. And again, there's very little to feel that this is a bullish chart anyway, other than just a continuation pattern of moving to lower lows until proven otherwise. Now, we're watching other coins to find if there's any kind of bullish deviation. You know, Litecoin still holding up a little better than others. Ethereum is definitely a little less than others. But we're getting to that realm where we're expecting something. Now, cloud resistance is actually very strong still on Bitcoin's price action here. We did have this bearish TK cross here, bleeding out the price action. We're still well below our Tenkan-sen. Look where it is, dead peg, 35.50. Okay, so another test of our Tenkan-sen resistance coincides exactly where we want our price action to test one more time and see, okay, can we trend change now? Or do we actually have to go a lot lower? Looking at our 12-hour cloud, okay, Tenkan-sen resistance remains. Now, the one good thing is that look how bearish our cloud was on our 12-hour. Now we're still in our bear cloud. We still have not had a Kumo twist yet, but much less resistance here, okay, which means there's clear air above 3,800 where there wasn't. There was that cloud choppiness here. So that's notable. Higher time frame. 6-hour, okay. Look how strong Tenkan-sen resistance remains. Okay, boom, 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 boom. How many 6-hour candles do we break it, but we cannot close above it? Okay, so our cloud is just across the board here, still showing very bearishness, um, remains. And we see our targets still remain in this 35.50 area. Look where the cloud resistance starts on our 6-hour. 35.50. So and look at our 6-hour expanding bearishly here. Okay, so our 12-hour looks a lot better than our 6-hour here. Let's go to our 4-hour. Once again, still can't get above Tenkan Sen, and not yet, but there's a bearish TK cross here or a bullish TK cross if we can pop back up here. We've got to watch our two indicators here. We're still separated. It'll take several 4-hour candles to go through. About an hour left in this current candle here. Interesting candle pair here, very tight dojis here. Getting closer to something bigger as our candle bodies get very, very tight. This is one of our tightest back-to-back candle bodies we've seen since back here a couple days ago. This one was pretty tight. This one wasn't. Had a little volatile move there, so very tight indeed. Let's talk about TDs. I checked this out earlier today. Still, the only counts that are of any interest to me are the 2-day and the 3-day. Everything else is mid-cycle. We got a 1 on the 12, but just getting going there. We're still in a bearish count on our daily. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got to close above 34.37 to flip that today, or else tomorrow we got to close above 34.68. So we potentially have another 2 more days. Well, 3, 4. And then 5, 1, 2, 3 would basically a close above 34.15 would give us a price flip. So still a couple more days potentially in our daily there. But look at our 2-day. We are a bleeding combo 13 on our 2 with our setup line resistance right. I'll get 2 of them here. We got a setup line. Oh, because there was a 9 here. So we have initial resistance 34.55 and then another one at 35.15. These are the lows, candle lows, wick lows of the previous 9s that we had seen in our sequential on the 2-day. This one here was a 9, gorgeous 9, bounce. Okay, this one here was a 9, very tighter 9, drop. And now we basically hit a combo 13, 10, 11, 12, 13, and we're still in it in the countdown phase. Now, if the 2-day we're in a bleeding 9 here, then our 3-day is right at a 9. Now, our last 9 3-day, okay, didn't necessarily mark the bottom, but the candle actually did. We just had about another week or so to really define what our bottom looks like with a gorgeous tweezer here, okay, and this gorgeous bullish engulfing candle on the 3-day that allowed this next guy to continue here. This isn't the best looking 9. This one here with a volatility candle, that's the kind of 9 you want to see. Very high wave. This one here, not so much. So this candle closes tonight. This could be another situation where we actually have a bleeding 9 on the 3-day as we have the bleeding 9 on the 2, unless starting tomorrow we can get some sort of a change in that direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got to close about 35.50 again to turn this into a price flip. Weekly, we are on a red 4. Listen, we're on a red 4 with room to fall. You know, we're on a red 4 with room to fall. But we can definitely keep an eye on this here because our very tight price action with no volume yet this week. Okay, we either have to hold here and bounce, or much lower we can go. And our monthly, we are on a red 7. Now this is very interesting. Wouldn't it be awesome to get a 9 on a monthly Bitcoin chart? We haven't had that in quite a while. Did we ever have? I might have to go to BLX for that. Did we ever have? We did. We had a 9. We had a bullish 9, 2014. Yeah, we only got, interesting, we only got to an 8. We only got to an 8 on the 2015 cycle here on the monthly before we had a price flip. And that was actually because we had this 4 months of very tight price action here around this $250 to $300 range. So this is an example of ranging, okay, that flipped us from a red count to a green count. Ranging can give us that in the next couple months because of we just got to close above 37 and above 34 to kind of flip this thing. Eventually, but for now, we're counting back 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We still got to close above 3,500 for this not to be a red 7. But next month with a red 8, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, we only have to close above 3,900, and then the following month, April, 3,750. So a tight range of price action could give us that price flip in the April timeframe, but we still have a couple more months for that to play out. Well, who's in the chat room right now? 75 of my closest friends hanging out with me today. What's up, SS Swartz 88? Always counting you, my friend. What's up, Tone Loke? 1337-64175. Hello, Tony, John W, Dragon, Crypto Squatch, Massimo. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with me. Let's take a look at the quick type price action here. Anything of interest? Not really. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about a couple things here. So, checking out 15, checking out longs and shorts here. This is our ratio spread. Look at the shorts have come back a lot, almost in this interesting pattern here. Kind of head and shoulders ish. Our longs are still hanging in there and still above 31,000. Because the shorts have pulled off a little bit, this kind of has some running room, and the fact that we're once again hitting that area there. So let's take a look, deeper dive here. Bitcoin longs. There we go. There we go. Daily. So where are we at here? Been watching this channel. Have to switch this up a lot. What crap do I have here? Actually, I kind of see something like that. A little pennant going on in here. Right? And this is our longs here. So we could find support here, or we might have to go a little lower till we get that break up. Anything else will be go down, breaking that support line there. So this pennant suggests we're not necessarily ready for that breakthrough just yet. Now shorts, I still talk about my line of volatility. We never actually hit it on this triple bottom, on a triple bottom, this little inverse H&S here that we were able to break above. And kind of an important zone to hold here. We see right here, resistance broke above, resistance tested 1, 2, 3, 4 daily candles, and once again getting back to it around the 2370 area of support, where we actually have shorts beginning to rise when this area is hit. So another back test a little bit lower in our shorts, which would be a little bit of a pop in the price action of Bitcoin, could definitely be interesting, as we see this price action basically play out. Can't do trend lines on longs and shorts, man. Absolutely you can. Absolutely you can do trend lines. This is nothing different with this chart in terms of TA indicators being overbought, being oversold than anything else. Yes, this is basically has a lot more to do with sentiment, but still, classical TA on even the longs and shorts charts, I will always believe because they're accurate, because they tell us what's going on and where we could look for support and resistances. I want to bring up, there we go. CME futures. I've talked about this before. We have two gaps. Nothing on the daily, but we have that 4-hour gap. Whoa. I got to redo this chart here. Where is that gap? Where is that gap? Well, that never played out, did it? Not yet, at least. So there's a gap here on the 4-hour at 30, right here. 40, no, it's right here. 4390 area, and that is an interesting area. That there's a gap still on the 4-hour. Now our 1-hour only has the gap at 3150. Our 4-hour is actually no gap down here. So I'm a guy with gaps, talking about gaps. Gaps got to be filled. Yes, both of these gaps on the up and the down can be filled. Question is, if we can fill our lower one, that would definitely give us a good sense of another bullish push, and that would definitely also correspond with that double bottoming there. But remember, these gaps can be open for quite a lot longer time here, just because there's no law that says they have to be filled within weeks of something or even months. Oh, look at that. We have a new gap on the 4-hour still as well. Near term, right there. So we have a gap, a little guy, but price action to, oops, no, that's not what I wanted. Price label. 34.20. Okay, so we have a little gap up to 34.20. Yep. But again, it wouldn't take that long. We're actually selling at a premium, a below premium right now on the futures, which is not good. Let's go back to my daily here. So look at our daily, look at our tight apex ranging equilibrium here. It's just near-term stuff here. We're using our candle bodies, not our wicks, because wicks are FOMO wicks, our trap wicks on the low or the up, and we're just right there. Okay, we're right there. Don't know how meaningful this is, but we have a resistance line there, a resistance line there, and frankly, if I did it like that, we could actually see we broke out of it there. But still, I don't really like either of these because it's just a choppy sideways price action that is what we're looking for there. So something to keep an eye on, because we're getting close to something bigger. I just feel we're getting close to something bigger here. Okay, whether this is some sort of a falling wedge. Remember, falling wedges can be bullish, but it may take time for them to really get to that, apex of even that kind of falling wedge. Now, from a cycle standpoint, okay, this can take us into mid-month, with another tap of our lower channel, again, getting us right to that 32 area here. Now, that puts us right into our MA 200 on the monthly, but that really still doesn't change the fact that I just can't see how another test in this lower area is kind of really bring in some buyers. We give up all these gorgeous bull candles. Okay, look where we are right now. We basically gave up this guy, and this guy, and this guy, and this guy. Now we're basically back to, this halfway point we had on this awesome December 17th day, where we rose from 32 all the way up to 35 and accelerated our push. Yeah, profit stance. Give me a reach out. Reach out to me on Twitter or email me bigchonis@gmail.com. I can take a look at what you guys offer, and yeah, see if you'd be a good fit for the show. Um, I don't have a Telegram group, Wizard of Do It Land. I'm still figuring out if I want to have a private group or not, and just haven't made up my mind on that one yet. But listen, this falling wedge here, okay, if we can't break through now, okay, can cascade us back down, a couple $100, bounce, bounce. But all this gets us is another test of 3,500 and probably another rejection of that 3,500 area. So I think a lot of longs here are just waiting. They don't want to miss this candle. They don't want to miss this bullish candle. It's going to just pop us back up and continue any kind of a bullish momentum here. But at the same time, what is this catalyst that's going to induce the market of buying to say, okay, the value proposition is here. Keep watching Litecoin to see, because if Bitcoin's going to break through, I think Litecoin's going to be the first ones to actually have more of a meaningful breakout. Okay, similar to Bitcoin, we're still hitting these areas of near-term resistance, and where we had a gorgeous kind of inverse head and shoulders here, this shoulders here is feeling a little toppy, a little long in the tooth. But this resistance keeps holding here. And if we can break above 34, I mean, we have kind of running room back up to the high 30s once again. That would correspond with a very strong one-to-one reset, one-to-one expanse of this guy here, putting in play potentially a golden pocket right at our double top area of 40, or more conservative levels, to that 38.2 area around 36.50, basically putting us to a double top area of our December 24th candle. And all this is just coinciding with those lower lows. Now, one thing that is notable is that we have a much more appealing MA profile on Litecoin than we do on Bitcoin. We already have that bull cross going on right now with a daily Litecoin, which means our 12, our 6, and our 4 are all in a bull cross stance here. Okay, so Litecoin is still the most bullish of them all. Not them all, obviously, but showing a sense here that for now, any kind of pullback in Bitcoin is basically a lesser pullback, and any kind of a more sustained rise in Bitcoin can give us a bigger move, because the market is showing us here, and our indicators are showing us here, that Litecoin is a stronger proposition. Still in the mid 50s here in the RSI, where Bitcoins are much lower. And speaking about that, let's check out those RSIs in Bitcoin. A couple interesting indicators to take a look at here as we almost wrap up the show. So look at that. We're right at 40 here on our RSI. I'd like to be above 50 on our daily. We're not there yet. Okay, and our lower trend line here, where's my line? Okay, our triple tap line here, let's give that a different color. Okay, is still holding. We did a higher bounce, we did a lower bounce, and we're still in this lower bounce, but I like the angle so far intraday here of our RSI. We want to trail this higher here. Look at our stochastic is rolling over once again, the same place it did last time. Find that resistance here. Okay, but this is still early. We can hold this area and do another scoop higher. And look at our MACD. Now, our first attempt to cross, okay, was firmly rejected. Today, we have two things happening. We have a intraday bull cross of our MACD, and our first bullish histogram of our MACD. This entire here? No, we had some bullish ones here. Basically ever since early January. So two notable signs here, not crazy bullish, okay? But if we can get some expanse on these, we can begin to build this, okay? So nice, I like to see that. Our CMF, okay, is ranging higher on our daily. That is something we do like to see. However, um, doesn't necessarily mean it's a bullish thing. Um, we have circumstances where we've had um, bullish pops and uh, or sorry, bear or it's gonna say like sideways price action in the CMF here all through here, okay, with really no movement really at all in the price action of Bitcoin. You know, all this September, October, November price action here above the zero line was basically kind of a dead stick here in the price action of Bitcoin. So we're not really seeing anything necessarily crazy or notable in the CMF because we don't have a change in what this occurs when we're above our zero line. However, we can begin to get above our 1 here, even our 1.5. Now we're talking about areas that have shown bullish senses in the past. What else to look at? This is our OBV, and I do want to look at our OBV oscillator. Okay, putting in a slightly higher low here. Okay, still choppy, but we had a slightly higher low here that we're just trying to find and hold. Still no bullish divergence yet. And this is our CMF oscillator, and it just looks very crappy. It just really does. Okay, you want to see this ranging higher because it's showing that people are going to hold Bitcoin and ride out a longer bullish momentum, and we're just not seeing that profile change just yet. We had some hope when we were at our zero line here, a little bit up, a little bit down, making this market that for now seems to be very elusive in what we're watching for here. So until the next time, this is Big Chonis. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll keep you guys posted. Until next time, peace.